Yes, you read that right. Today I have in my possession a brand new unopened copy of Nikon's new flagship mirrorless camera, the Z9, courtesy of the good folks at Book My Lens, which is a camera rental company in Bengaluru, as you might be aware. And as of the publishing of this video, the camera is going to be available on rent with them. So if you would like to get your own hands on it, take it out for a spin, try it out, take some pictures, then be sure to log on to www.bookmylens.com and hire the Z9 from them. So today we're going to unbox the Z9 and the accessories. I'll show you what's in the box and also share my first impressions. So let's get started, shall we? Oh, I must mention that two things have been bundled separately outside this box, namely the CF Express card, which is the free 256GB one, and the other is the charging adapter, probably because the adapter is different for different countries, so it's packaged separately. Okay, let's dig into the box now. What do we have here? Okay, first we have the Z series sticker. Then we have some sort of a promo card. Then we have the warranty card. Little surprised they still do physical warranty cards actually. And this one's signed by the managing director, no less. And then you have some more warranty information, this time on a piece of paper. Then you have the user manual, again in printed form, but a mini manual, I would imagine, about 70 pages. Then we have the list of service centers for India. That's it in the top lid. So now let's open the lid and see what's inside. Two boxes. Okay, I'll dig into the accessory box first. And what do we have? We have a USB cable, USB-A to USB-C to charge the camera directly. Then we have a Z strap. Unfortunately, it's not a Nikon Z9 specific strap, it's just Nikon Z. Then we have some plastic holders, clips. And finally, we have the battery. Oh, the battery is quite small. It's quite a pleasant surprise, I must say. As you can see, but it's very light, a far cry from the huge massive batteries of the D6 and Duo. Pretty nice. Okay, now let's get the business end of the box open and try out the Z9. Put this box away. Oh, and I can already tell it's not light. Wow. Okay. Alright, I can feel that in my hand, no doubt about it. Let me tell you, it's not light. It's definitely not light. Which is a good thing, really, because it's built like an absolute tank. Wow. It's very clear that Nikon took the build quality here very seriously. They're not fooling around. This very much feels like a pro body. Very much feels like the mirrorless version of a D6. The integrated battery grip is absolutely seamless, just like it is with all flagship Nikon cameras. And funnily enough, though, I have to say, the grip feels a little smaller than what I'm used to with the D6. I don't know if this is factually true or just a perception, but it does feel a tiny bit maybe shallower as well as shorter. But that's okay, I'm not complaining because I have small hands and it fits pretty snugly, but the only concern is that it tends to be a little left heavy. I find the camera trying to lean to the left, which probably I might get used to because the grip is small, perhaps the weight is pulling it to the left. But otherwise, all very familiar stuff here. Over on the left, you have the Ethernet port, the microphone input and the headphone output jack. And then below it you have a full-sized HDMI, not a mini HDMI, and a USB-C port to charge the camera directly. The buttons fall pretty nicely to hand, both with the horizontal grip as well as the vertical grip. And I'm able to reach the earphone button pretty easily. The joystick falls nicely to hand. It feels absolutely solid and rugged, inspires a lot of confidence. I wouldn't at all be afraid to take this in a dust storm if required, or in light rain. And all familiar stuff here. Even if I'm coming from a D780, I feel instantly at home, really, because on the left here in the rotatable dial you have your continuous burst modes, and that includes the self timer, and on top you have the bracketing, exposure program mode, flash settings. Over on the right you have the movie record, ISO and exposure compensation. So not much cheese has moved here, really. And of course you have the display toggle switch between movie and stills mode here on the back, within the reach of the thumb, and an AF on button. Yes, it doesn't have a separate AE/AF lock button, but that seems to be the trend these days with Nikon, so you'll just have to accept that and get used to it. Of course, you can program the AF on button to serve as AF lock if that's what you prefer, or if you need both, you can always use one of these function buttons over on the right front, where you have 3 of them, which is pretty handy. Then on the back, of course, the highlight is the new mechanism for the LCD screen. While earlier you could just pull this out and only move it up and down like this, now you can actually pull a little lever to free up this part of the hinge, which will let you do this. Okay, so this is obviously not game changing, whom are we kidding, because you cannot turn it by 180 degrees to be able to see yourself while you're shooting a vlog, for example. But nevertheless, maybe if you're in a weird position while shooting, or you have some glare, it helps to have that little additional flexibility to fine-tune the position of the LCD, and that's what it's useful for. Okay, let me quickly grab the adapter to show you. Okay, that's fairly small. Let's see what it is. 15 watts. It's a 15-watt charger, and well, Nikon says that it takes the same amount of time as the separate battery charger, which brings me to a very, very important thing that you have to know, which is that right now Nikon is not bundling the separate battery charger with the Z9. Okay, that might come across to you as pretty shocking. It did to me as well, because I was looking for it in the box and it wasn't there, and I thought it might be in this adapter box, but it's not there in that either. So when contacted, Nikon said that this has happened due to regulatory problems. They're yet to get the necessary approvals due to compliances from the customs and things like that, and because of which it's delayed by 2 months. So Nikon will not be bundling these separate battery chargers for the next 2 months with any new Z9 purchased, and which means that this little 15-watt charger, which connects to the power and goes directly into the camera, is your only way of charging the Z9 until that charger comes out. And unfortunately, another piece of bad news is that Nikon will not be retrospectively giving away these battery chargers when they become available to previous Z9 purchasers. It will only be bundled with new Z9s, which will be purchased from the time that it becomes available, which means that you'll have to buy it separately by paying extra for it, which is a little disappointing. I think Nikon should have handled this better, or at least should have issued some clear communication about it. It's good that we've got the clarity now, and at least if you're watching this video, you can take that, you can factor it into your decision making. Personally, for me, having to buy a charger extra after having paid so much is a bummer. So I would just hire it until the time that Nikon starts bundling the battery charger, and would buy it after that. So that's just something that you should know. Okay, so now overall, except for that little disappointment, I think my first impression of the camera has been not spectacular, but very solid, I would say, simply because it is a very solid camera, both literally as well as figuratively, at least from the outside. Of course, I haven't had the chance to examine its capabilities yet. As you can see, I haven't even put the battery into the camera yet. So I'm going to be doing that and hopefully testing it out in detail, particularly the autofocus, the battery performance, the movie, the 4K, 120 FPS. All these are things that I want to test out in detail to see whether it actually lives up to the expectations. Also, the headline feature of 20 FPS at 45 megapixels is also something quite a big step forward for Nikon. So yeah, all of this will come in a future video perhaps, but for now I'll just wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks again to Book My Lens for providing me this camera to unbox, and I'll catch you next time. See you.